What's up, everybody? It is I, Sigma, and we are back with episode 52 of the BBET Gamescast. I'm joined by Superman Jeff.
What's going on, people? It's your favorite superhero here.
As well as Mr. Gamer.
Hello there.
And Blue Bones.
It's your boy. What's going on, fam?
Welcome back to episode 52. It's been a while since all four of us have been here together. About 2 weeks or so. It just feels so much longer. But as we always do, we like to get started with what we've been playing / watching. Does anyone want to volunteer to go first? I can, because I really have a very short list this week.
Go ahead.
So I was actually playing this last week, but the review came out for it just after the podcast launched. So it's a simulation game called Polybridge 2.
Polybridge.
Yeah, have you ever heard of like Bridge Constructor or...
Oh, I absolutely love the first Polybridge. Loved it.
Yeah, so this is actually a lot more of that. It's essentially a game where you have to construct a bridge using like in-game physics and building materials to get a car to the other side of a gap. So like as
what
the game,
is there like wacky materials or realistic?
See, that's the thing. It's like somewhere in between. Like it doesn't take itself super seriously, but it doesn't get like crazy until like. Well, I'll get into that. But
okay,
my whole thing is it's extremely well built. Like the tool set for you constructing the bridge, like picking materials, like you draw lines and like the lines can go as far as the material allows, and then like each one has a certain cost, each one has a certain amount of like structural integrity. So like depending on what you build and what to put together, all those things working together will allow your bridge to either support the weight of the cars or just completely fall apart when something drives on it, or even without anything driving on it, it'll just drop into the into the canyon or the sea or whatever, which can be humorous when you fail spectacularly. But in general, like it was a little too straightforward. Like the very first thing you see when you start the game up is the tutorial. Like it doesn't take you to an opening screen. There's no cinematic. No one talks to you. It's a text box saying this is Polybridge 2. This is what you need to do in order to get through the puzzles in this game. Have at it, and you just go from
like a
there.
mobile game.
Yeah, it's a very straightforward puzzle game. So it does get a lot more complicated because they introduce things like hydraulic presses, which can raise and lower bridges, and like stuff like ships or planes will need to pass through the area. So
I was about to ask what kind of obstacles you have to overcome. Okay.
So like if your bridge is in the way of a ship coming through, then clearly you failed that level. Like you need it to like move out of the way, and like it does get fairly complex in order to make a bridge that can pull itself apart and then bring itself back together and keep everybody alive. So but at the end of the day, like the entire aesthetic and the feel of it was just too bland. Like the music is beautiful, but it's very, very soothing acoustic guitar, and when the majority of the time you're sitting there thinking and like moving the mouse around to like pull things, yes, oh my god, I was like I was sitting there like dozing off or whatever. So it's fine, like if you're into that kind of thing. Like I really felt like old men who are like really into trains, like this is their jam. You know what I mean?
That's what it sounded like initially when you talk about building bridges. I was like, I mean that's the first thing I thought about, trains going over those nice tall like iron.
Yeah, like if you like to like paint small miniature figurines, like maybe this will be up your alley. But yeah, it's just not for me.
When you said like poly bridges, I thought it was like a game about bridges in like an open marriage or something.
Under no circumstances.
That's not the first
anything close to.
No. There were some comments in the review that were to that effect, because that's where some people's minds go. But that's pretty much it for games. We played some other stuff. Like I'm close to finishing Spider-Man, I think, finally. But I'm just getting sidetracked by all the side missions. So I guess that's what they're there for.
That's you're playing the game.
But that's pretty much it. Still watching The Walking Dead, so nothing new on the TV front either. Because I need to know what happened after I stopped. So
watching The Young and the Restless with COVID, like that's what you doing. I hate The Walking Dead. Bro. It is so
COVID edition.
The story is slower than zombies to me. I don't know.
Now that you don't have to wait week to week, it's not that slow. You know what I mean?
No. When I was trying to catch up back in the day, I was falling asleep on a regular basis.
That's on you, because that show is actually really good until a point. I don't know where you are, but yeah, it starts to fall apart around where I left off. But I'm trying to get back into it, and there's still some good stuff in it. Like the conclusion of that whole Negan thing, I thought was like really well done.
Yeah, I didn't get up to there. I was totally bored before that.
I mean, I get it, because there are some parts and there's some annoying stuff. Like Rick and Michonne's relationship specifically feels super forced and cringy anytime they're together and doing anything. And like they love to show you Rick and Michonne doing stuff, so that doesn't sit well with me. But that's pretty much it for me. What else has anybody been playing?
I'll go next since I don't have much either. Played a good amount of Pokemon Eye of Armor dropped a couple days ago, last week-ish, this week, some week.
A week.
I don't know. But so played some of that, got through the main story. They added some more Pokemon to the Pokedex. There's Pokemon like Scyther, there's
Like
Jigglypuff, there's
right?
Miltank, which is that cow-looking Pokemon with the nipples out. Yeah.
I don't think you need to add that part.
Just giving you a picture, bro.
I know what a cow looks like.
Do you know?
You didn't have to refer to his nipple.
Is this where we're...
I'm just letting it happen, bro.
Okay.
Just let it happen.
Just let it do.
Finish that. So right now I'm just, trying to rework my team a little bit, add some of the new ones in. I feel like in this particular DLC, like this was like a prequel DLC where they were saving a bunch of stuff for the Crown Tundra.
Mm-hmm.
Because like all the new legendaries are in the Crown Tundra, all the the biggest areas in the Crown Tundra. Like this was like, hey, just play this until
the other
that
one's
comes
ready.
out. Yeah. Besides playing that, I don't know if I watched anything. I did start watching One Piece from the beginning.
Why?
Right now I'm in Alabaster. Why not?
Why?
Why not?
Why not?
Why
And
not?
it's very interesting that I did, because when I thought I stopped watching One Piece when I was younger because it got too silly. But I'm watching it now. Like, no, there's none of that. I think it's because it was the 4Kids version. And also growing up, I saw episodes here and there. So there's still I'm seeing episodes I haven't seen before. And like in this one, like, Luffy straight up tells people, "I'm gonna F you up."
So
Yeah?
you're watching like the Japanese,
No, it's the English dub.
the English dub. Okay, because that's initially what turned me off to it when it used to air on Toonami, and I don't think that's the same dub as the 4Kids dub, right? Like those were two. Okay, but even the Toonami one in English, like Luffy's just constant yelling was like nails on a chalkboard to me. Like I can't do this. Like it wasn't until years later I started it over again from the Japanese version that it was tolerable, even though he does still yell the whole time too. But because I guess I can't hear him, I'm really reading the most of the time. It didn't bother me as much.
Yeah, I feel like it was a lot of stuff I missed, like a lot of episodes I missed. I mean, because I never went back, so it was like you see episodes when they aired, or if they happen to show a rerun. But I'm glad I did start watching it. I'm almost finished with season 4.
Yeah, that's a long trip, and you're doing it all over again.
But it's worth it.
I love it. I am over 900 episodes in, and I watch them all with a smile.
Yep.
Wait, did the most recent arc finish, like the Wano arc?
No, they're gonna pick it back up on June 28th.
Okay, because I am very excited to watch that, but I don't want to wait, like you guys know. So when that's done, I'll probably jump right back on that.
I'll never tell you.
I don't need you to tell me.
You can start Tower of God now.
Oh yeah, because that finished, right? So I might as well.
Yeah, pretty good finale too.
Nice. That's what else you got?
That was a little. That was a gut punch. That was a gut punch in that finale.
Oh, for Tower of God.
Yeah.
Still mad about it, but it's alright. You know what I mean? I'm not like mad at the episode. I'm mad at what happened. And yeah, there's a lot of people that I want to punch. Speaking of gut punches, yeah. So
We'll
it did a good job.
offline.
Yeah, bringing a rise out of me.
All right, who is next?
All right.
I got Oh,
go,
go ahead, gamer.
go ahead, Blue.
Streets of Rogue, really fun, really wacky.
Yeah, tell
It's
me
like-
more about, because I did watch the trailer thing, but I didn't have the sound on.
So that's where you're missing out. I think the trailer alone sold me on the game. Real talk, like it was really good. But basically, what's happening is you are a random person, a random character that has been found by the Resistance, and you're in a town. Right now, the town has like 5 levels to it. This is a roguelike game, so obviously you have to get through the 5. At the top level is the evil mayor that's been corrupting the whole town. So you have to go up there, kill him, boom, that's it. There's at least, I didn't see how many classes there are, but there's at least 20 something classes that you can unlock. There's about 6 of them that they give you right off the bat, and then just through your constant playthroughs you unlock the rest of them. Now the cool thing about this game is that it's not just kill everybody on the screen, unless you want to, right? It's
You could.
yeah, you can definitely do that. You can turn into a giant and break down houses and stuff like that. You can be a hacker and just hack all the technology around and set off traps and not even see the enemy and just know that you completed your objective. So speaking of objective, on every floor, you have at least, I think it's at least 2 missions to complete before you can go on to the next floor. And then you have a bonus objective for your class, and then sometimes you have extra missions that are randomly generated as well. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of interactivity between the classes. There's there's some really funny and stupid looking ones. There's a shapeshifter that is like a small, very small character that's naked and runs around and possesses people's body. And
I mean,
so,
that's one way to shapeshift, I guess.
right? So you can be like, you could turn into a cop, right? And then you can be inside the police department and get all the files that you're supposed to get for that level and then just bounce. Or you can turn into somebody's friend and start beating them up and then leave and then watch 2 friends fight. You know what I mean? You can do all kinds of stuff.
Someone described this as like a D&D simulator in a way. Like that interested me. So like it really is like just role playing, but just in.
There's a lot of stats, or not a lot of stats, but there's a lot of traits. There's a lot of traits that you can apply to your character. Some of them are like from your class, and then some of them you pick up throughout the levels. So that being said, I think it's a lot of fun to do your character build every time. Once you've passed a certain level 5 times with 5 different characters, you can start on the next level. So I've been doing this, starting from the slums, working my way tirelessly up to the industrial area, which is the second one, and now I've done that 5 times, so I can just start at the industrial area.
Okay, that's good. So they help you, even though it's a roguelike, they give you some saved progress.
Some kind of progress, yeah. And you continue to acquire chicken nuggets, which is the those are the premium currency, not premium currency, like nothing that you have to buy, but it's like the game's
it's the big
currency. Yeah. Because the mayor has banned chicken nuggets and now they're
is the mayor a chicken?
I don't know. I've never
You just know that the mayor is just corrupt. He's corrupt. That's it.
And only a corrupt person would ban chicken nuggets.
100%. You know, his whole campaign, he ran on lowering taxes and giving out more beer. Yeah. And the only thing he did was higher taxes. That's what they said. So
yeah, the writing in this sounds really, really funny.
Oh, the tutorial is hilarious, bro. Like, yeah, just play the tutorial. It's funny as heck. It just shows you what kind of game this is going to be.
I'm gonna check that out.
It's a lot of fun. I've been playing some Valorant, and I've also been playing. I'm on my second run through of Fire Emblem 3 Houses right now, running with the Empire. It's really dope. I'm getting to some of the critical points, and I'm seeing the story not divergences, but different story perspectives. So I'm happy about that.
That's what's up.
And I've been watching Dracula on Netflix.
I heard that show takes a bad turn, which is why I never started it, because I was kind of on a Dracula high after Castlevania ended. So I was like, oh, what's this? But I heard it doesn't have a satisfying conclusion. But I mean, how
I
far
have
are you?
not heard that.
Okay.
There's only 3 episodes. I just finished episode 2 yesterday. I thought episode 2 was a storytelling masterpiece.
Really?
Yeah, I really like the way they set up the storytelling, and Dracula says it multiple times. This is a story, so you're gonna have to pick and choose and find out what's real and what's not, and it's really cool. This depiction of Dracula for me is much more of a cinematic and mysterious and brain teasing Dracula than he is a gory monster, which he still is.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a monster with thought. You know what I mean? And that's what's the scariest thing about him. I guess one of the coolest lines, and I'll end after this. Somebody that was investigating him told him, like, you were just eating people like a fox and a henhound. And he's like, no, I was a connoisseur in a wine cellar. So it was really interesting the way that he looks at people. He's like, yo, I love every neck I crack open. Like, this is great. Yeah.
Well, at least I appreciate my dinner,
Exactly. That's what he's saying. He's
goodness.
I don't take my food for granted. I'm thankful.
He said, don't disrespect my victims. They're not hens. They're fine wine. It was really interesting.
I mean, serial killers unite.
Of course, I don't agree with his morals, but I like listening to his logic. And I like listening to his reason.
Yeah, that can definitely be interesting. Just kind of diving into the mind of some kind of a craze, not even craze.
It's a monster.
There's a monster.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But okay, that's all I've been doing.
So what's up? What about you, gamer?
All right. I bought Modern Warfare, and I'm actually playing it, and I am getting the feelings of Call of Duty Black Ops 2. That was the Call of Duty game that I played to excess. I was a part of the Midwest Brony Divisions clan, and we would have our custom-made pony emblems with all the weird shapes and stuff. They had those YouTube tutorials. Yeah, I had mine. It was vinyl scratch, no surprise. And I felt myself just slowly falling back into that, where I would like turn on my PlayStation, just go in, headphones, and we just let's go. And it pains me because I was a little turd back then. So I'm not proud of how I was back then. So that was a bit of a painful experience. I'm actually going back and I'm restarting my Animal Crossing island.
I remember you telling me about that.
Yep. I want to have more of a connection with my island, so I am going to be making the cast of Beastars, the anime, and I am putting it. That's going to be my project.
You can do that. You can make the residents.
Well, not make the residents, but you can manipulate them so that you get certain residents. There's websites that you can go to where someone who typically makes Pokemon for certain hacks, he manipulates the game in such a way where when you go to this island, the visitor you want will be there, and then you just have the person over, and then boom, there we go. You have your villagers. So I have a few ones that I'm looking out for. And let's see, I think there was something else that I was trying. Oh no, I was playing Shantae and the Pyrus Curse again. I don't know what it is. I played Shantae and the Seven Sirens, and then I just had to go back and start playing the whole Shantae series all over again. So now I'm at the Pyrus Curse, and I appreciate the fans that I have on my Twitter because we are all in agreement. Shantae needs to be in Smash. She doesn't have a spirit. She doesn't have a trophy. She is a character from her own video game. Put her in Smash. She will be my main. Nuff said. And I love me some Isabel. Don't get me wrong. She is a belle. But Shantae.
I wouldn't hate
that.
I wouldn't hate seeing Shantae in Smash. Like, I think that's a good idea. I just don't think the character is popular enough for them. Like, cause they kind of go for like.
I feel like Shantae's more popular than Sans, right? And then Sans.
But Sans is just a costume. You know what I mean?
Right. That's exactly what I'm saying. Sans is a Mii costume, and I think that she's more popular than him. So
I disagree. I don't think so. Like Undertale kind of became an industry phenomenon. Like, I don't think Shantae, even though it has a much longer lineage, has reached that kind of like prestige in terms of an actual game franchise. Like, some people think of Undertale as like a classic,
cult classic kind of deal.
And as far as that, I'm still going through Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I am on a hiatus until further notice of BoJack Horseman.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I am on a hiatus until further notice.
It's heavy. It's a heavy.
I keep trying on purpose, and I'm just like, nope, can't. I'll click over to another tab.
Did you go to Arizona yet?
No.
Oh, jeez.
Thanks. Now I'm afraid. Now I'm afraid. Because if I'm stopping at this point, and you're like, oh, you didn't even get to the worst. Like, oh.
I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's. Yeah. I'll just say the scenario with the mother, with BoJack's mom.
Oh my gosh!
Like, that was probably one of the biggest kind of like mind trip moments for me.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah, like I've never seen that situation conveyed that way before, and I thought that was actually amazing.
The monologue episode.
Oh yeah,
the monologue episode is one of the best pieces of writing I've seen in modern TV. Will Arnett, hands down, kills the role of BoJack Horseman and makes you love-hate him so well. That monologue episode made that show. It stapled that show as a good show for me. Like, it made me keep going. I'm like, I can't stop watching it after they put in all this work. This is amazing.
And the dude who created the show, I cannot remember his name right now. Like, that's his first series.
No way.
Yeah, like the only other thing he's done since then is that Amazon original show Undone. Well, no, the spinoff was some other writers.
Oh, with was that Aubrey Plaza in that one? In Undone?
Or the girl looks like Aubrey Plaza. I don't think it's Aubrey Plaza. Yeah. But it's like it has the weird filter. Shaded. Yeah. So I haven't started watching that yet, but that's that creator's next thing. So I need to check that out.
I watched the first episode of that. It was interesting. It's
so does that do it for you, gamer?
Yeah, that sorry, yes, that was definitely it. You guys said enough about the show that, and I know I'm probably just going to be repeating it. It's just like,
no, I legit want to have a full like kind of deep dive when you're done.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be a while.
But okay, we'll move on to our next section. We are gonna skip the Super Smash Sunday recap because we didn't have Smash Sunday last week. It was Father's Day. We gave it a little break so you guys can spend time with your dads and stuff, and for you dads to spend time with your kids, of course. But we do have a bunch of quick updates. There was a lot of news this week. We're gonna try to get through some of it quickly as we can, but there's some very important topics that we're probably gonna spend some time on. But first up, Gamer, what do you got for us with these quick updates?
So, the first thing that we have is that there's a possibility that we'll be having Ghosts and Cyberpunk 2077 anime in the works at Netflix. So, it's supposed to be coming from Studio Trigger and the game developer CD Projekt Red, making Cyberpunk 2077, Witcher, and things like that. It's supposed to be expanding upon Cyberpunk 2077, and there have been a few pieces of like gameplay footage. So we have a rough, and I mean very rough, idea about the story of Cyberpunk 2077. But considering what Netflix has done with Castlevania, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, I'm very hyped for what this is. And Studio Trigger is probably one of my favorite animation houses. Like, they make incredible sequences. Like, watch Kill la Kill if you haven't. I know there's some gratuity in it, but it makes sense. It makes sense if you watch the.
No, I had now, mind you, and I think I can say this. When it comes to things that are of an adult nature, I may be familiar with it. This is an anime where what people would say, oh, that's just being lewd for being lewd's sake. Mm-hmm. No, there's a legitimate reason why this is happening right now.
Yeah, it's a story.
There is a 100%.
Like, it's silly. It's a silly reason, but in the context of the show, it makes perfect sense. And like, I couldn't get over how well they threw that in there because they didn't have to.
Like, I was gonna like half disagree with Gamer when he said that. You know, I think it's ludity for ludity's sake, and they made it work.
Yeah, well, fair. That's fair enough. Like, they had their cake, and they ate it too. Like, they made it work.
There it is.
But I wanted to clarify with the Kids See Ghosts project, that's actually rappers Kanye West and Kid Cudi. Like, their combined group. They call themselves Kids See Ghosts. And the artist who does Kanye's Kanye Bear artwork, I believe his name is Takashi Murakami.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one who's doing the animation for it. They released a trailer. It was CG. Kanye's Kanye Bear is being voiced by Kanye, and Kid Cudi has a character called Kid Fox, who's like a fox character, being voiced by Cudi. And I don't know what this show is supposed to be. If you watch the trailer, it just looks like kind of like spectral, spacey nonsense. It looks like Midnight Gospel, basically.
A little bit, yeah.
I don't know what the premise is, but I'm still excited because I love both those artists. Kanye West probably exponentially more than Kid Cudi. Kid Cudi has had some hits and misses and stuff, but everything Kanye has done conceptually, like in terms of artistic stuff, I've tended to be a fan with the exception of his clothing line.
What do you think about his latest album?
I like it. One? Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
Wow.
I'm not a fan of gospel music per se, but there are parts of the soundscape that I can appreciate, and he uses kind of those parts to kind of enhance his regular music production. So like I do think it sounds like a Kanye album and it sounds like a gospel album, which, you know, there have been bits of that throughout his whole career, but this kind of leans more to one side. But I did enjoy it.
All right. The next thing we have our next Smash fighter, and it's Min Min, the ramen fighter from the ARMS series. And according to Zero, according to Hungry Box, according to Mewtwo King, kind of like the big players in Smash Ultimate, Min Min is already rumored to be extremely OP.
They always say that, though.
They always say that, don't they? This new character is all like Piranha Plant. Oh my god, it's going to be ridiculously OP. Like,
it's OP because people don't know how to counter it yet, right?
Yeah,
and then there's always and then there's going to be some parameters that are always a little bit high or a little bit low, and then they bounce it out in like a patch or two. It's gonna be fine.
What I will say though, from the toolkit that Min Min does have, she is playing very, very close to how you would actually play in ARMS. In ARMS, it's not I need to get up real close. It's I'm keeping my distance with these long punches.
That makes sense.
And that's a lot of Min Min's toolkit is she will throw out an attack, and similar to Bayonetta, where when you doing your basic attack and you hold it, she'll like spin or whatnot. There will be an extension of Min Min's attack. So I'm seeing a lot of edge guarding and things like that kind of gameplay, because she has more reach than Byleth, and that is saying something. Byleth has ridiculous reach, but Min Min can
back airs are just going through my head right now.
Right? Just constant, it's like back air. But another thing that Min Min has is the ability to, just like in ARMS, she switches what her hands do. So you have I'm just going to call it looking like some sort of like chakra thing that will spin. You have a dragon hand that will shoot fire. I'm looking forward to this Would I've wanted Twintel? Obviously, but
100%.
it wasn't like it wasn't Spring Man or Spring Girl.
Yeah, it was
I would have been
most
upset.
generic ones.
Had it been one of them, I would have been upset. I can take Min Min. Let's see what we can what we can do. And going on to the thing that nobody asked for in the history of ever, Pokemon Unite. Because I guess, like, seriously, did they just took the Pokemon skin and put it on League of Legends or insert MOBA here?
Why not?
Well,
yeah, Jeff, you were actually excited about hearing that there was a Pokemon MOBA, right?
I was.
Go ahead, Jeff.
No. Age Before Beauty.
What? All I was gonna say is that it was good to see that kind of style. Y'all gonna be okay? Y'all gonna?
It was such a stupid thing to say. Like, it's just dumb.
That's why I'm trying to move past it.
No, yeah, go ahead. What's your take on it? Like,
I think it's interesting to see Pokemon in a new light. That's one of the fun things when we saw Pokken, we're like, oh crap, it's a Pokemon fighting game. You know what I'm saying? Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, it's a mystery game. You got the oh my gosh, there was one where they had like kingdoms and stuff like that. It was on the GBA. I loved that game. I think it was Conquest. It was called.
Yeah, they mixed
like a Fire Emblem.
Yeah, it was like a mix, right? It was like Fire Emblem characters had Pokemon partners or something.
Yes.
Yeah. And the Pokemon partners could evolve over time, but it took a lot for these cats to evolve. Like, they had to eat certain things, they had to level up in certain ways. Anyway, let's not get into that. The fact is, seeing Pokemon in different game types is super cool to me. I think I don't like MOBAs in general. I played Heroes of the Storm. I actually liked that, but that was like a rare exception. And it's only because it was Blizzard, to be honest. So, so seeing Pokemon as a MOBA, I think is gonna be cool. I might check it out for a couple of days. If I like it, I'll keep playing it. But hey man, why not? Just like Jeff said.
Yeah, I think it looks amazing. I mean, I played a good amount of League of Legends and very little Dota, but I think it could be very interesting what Nintendo could do with a MOBA, especially in the Pokemon universe. A few questions arise whether they're going to be, are you going to go max evolution for all the Pokemon, or are you going to do some second stages, some first stages, or are they going to be able to progress through their evolution through the course of the match? So
okay, that makes sense, because isn't that a thing in other MOBAs? Like, you basically get your abilities or you level up over the course. That would make a lot of sense if you start with starters or something, and then that might work. Yeah.
I don't know how they will incorporate, if they're going to incorporate items, because I mean, unless you're going to do some of the items from the game, like, I don't know, like a choice scarf or something like that, you know, to build towards a certain way. Yeah, so I think it could be very interesting, and I think I actually applaud them for taking a step in this particular direction. I mean, they're not just sticking to the same old, you know, Pokemon Sword and Shield and Pokemon Snap, and I'm sure we're gonna get a Pokemon Stadium at some point again. What is it, Pokemon Sleep? There's Pokemon.
Well, isn't that kind of outside the box, though? Wouldn't you say?
It is, but it's not as far out the box as a MOBA. Who would have thought that Nintendo would do a MOBA at that, but also a Pokemon themed MOBA?
Yeah. Matter of fact, that might be the reason why they chose Pokemon for it. Because if they maybe wanted to finally try to hand in a MOBA rather than make it a new IP or use something that would maybe fit a little bit more, like Pikmin, perhaps. They was like, oh, let's just go with the
Pikmin would definitely fit.
Go with the big, super huge, popular thing to kind of sell this to people who maybe wouldn't pay attention to it otherwise.
Yeah,
so, I don't know.
Because they could have did it like Warcraft. I mean, you could have even did like
RTS.
You could have did Link. You could have did Mario.
Like a Smash Bros. MOBA was just on the whole Nintendo.
Oh man. I don't like that.
If you ever played Warcraft, you play it similarly, where you have it's more of a strategy game where
Yeah,
you play as different heroes and you still make your troops and stuff. That could be something they can do in the future. But I think the mobile idea was very, very, very creative, and I'm interested to see what they do with it. That they don't just cut and paste a skin on top of something. Like what spins they're gonna add to it on their own, and see how it comes out.
All right, so quick
Did they have a
question on
release
this
date for
though.
that, or did they just that was just a tease, right?
Yeah, I think it was just a teaser video. I didn't put the link here because it's supposed to be a quick story. But I did have a question, and it left my brain. Never mind. We'll move on. Because I completely forgot. Right. But we're gonna move on from our quick updates. We're gonna move on to Animal Crossing's New Horizons update. Blue, you wanted to go into detail on this story.
Yeah, as soon as my mic starts working.
Hear you.
Yeah, we hear you.
Sorry about that. Yeah, Animal Crossing New Horizons dropped a video. Felt like out of nowhere. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention, didn't see it coming. But yo, we jumping in the water now. You know what I'm saying? That's a big thing. We're gonna start diving. Gulliver is gonna have pirate duds, and there's gonna be a lot more. There's a new NPC that's gonna be out there. He's an otter that's gonna be helping with the whole diving situation. Obviously, there's gonna be new items for the summer update, and this is only update number 1 for the summer, which is awesome that they're already about to throw out us. They're telling us that there's gonna be a second one. Obviously, this is all free updates for everybody that's playing, and yeah, that's it. We were super excited about it. I know a lot of people were kind of burning out a little bit just because of starting to reach where you got everything, but now you don't. So let's do it again.
Nice. Nothing to add, gamer? I know you're the other big Animal Crossing fan.
Well, everything else had already been said. So no, that is just about it. It's great for me to be starting from at this point because this update does not impede what I'm going to be doing whatsoever. So by all means, I was actually speaking with my co-host Kitty Duvall, and one of the other things that she wants from I think from New Leaf, I forgot. I'm not going to try to take her words. She has something very specific that she wanted to bring back, but just know that the Animal Crossing fandom is hype does not quite begin to describe it,
to say the least. Yeah.
I mean, when you play Animal Crossing,
don't start.
The term hyped, I feel takes.
Don't start. You don't even need to start.
Like, how much hype can you have for a game about relaxing? And that's all I'm getting at.
And yet, Jeff is constantly invading your mind because you didn't have to go there, but yet you did.
Anyway, so that closes out our Animal Crossing update. Jeff, some shakeups have been happening in the animation world.
So with everything going on, you got a lot of shows and networks and brands taking a stand to more or less speak up for Black Lives Matter. Some of that is going to be, for example, you got Family Guy. All their non-white roles are going to be voiced by black actors now. The Simpsons are no longer going to voice people of color with white actors. And there's Family Guy. I mean, American Dad. I'm sorry. So all those shows have made a stand and said that any character they have of color, whether that's Asian American, African American, anything, they're going to voice it by that particular ethnic group. So how do you guys feel about that?
It wasn't just those shows, right? There's a lot more.
No, those are just a few.
Right.
Yeah, those were some of the. I think
the more notable ones
from Netflix. The black girl from. Crap! What is the name of that show?
Big Mouth.
Big Mouth. Yeah, she also said that she wasn't going to voice the character Missy because she was basically taking the role away from a black woman, and there has been some pushback even from, black fans about telling voice actors that they can't do a voice of a different character's race, whether or not that constitutes blackface or whatnot. And I do think that there's a discussion there. Like, I don't think it's black and white.
I would love,
excuse the pun.
I would absolutely love to say something about this.
Yeah, go ahead.
As a voice actor, I understand the issue where some people will hear the voice, some people will see the picture and think that it doesn't match up. I got that. I don't think that I'm going to get flack for this, but as a voice actor, I do not see a particular issue with a black person not being voiced by a black person. I do not see that as a problem. And I say that because under what circumstances does someone sound black? And you're probably asking yourself, well, Mr. Gamer, what are you talking about? The voice actress for Miroko on My Hero Academia is Anaris Quinones. She is black. But when this started to come about, there was issue about that because people, being the idiots that they are, instantly looked at the character and said, no, she needs to sound black. She needs to sound black. And I would love for someone to explain to me, what does that sound like?
Right.
What does, and this is exactly why I say I'm not saying, oh yeah, get rid of them all. Like, no, I'm not saying like that. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is a comment that I saw in regards to that Cleveland story, which was, who is writing his lines? Who is taking care of that character's character development? It's not just the voice, because there is more than just the voice to that character. Their lines, what they do, how they interact with other people make up that character and that character's arc, regardless of the nationality that person plays that voice as.
I've always thought that the Cleveland show was Seth MacFarlane's excuse to make black jokes.
Yeah, I mean, I think it always depends on the context of the character. I think in that instance, when you're trying to portray a stereotypical black man in the anime and you're using a white guy to do it, I think that's when that whole situation becomes convoluted, and I think that's when it's wrong.
Yeah, I 100% agree
and that's,
with
if you
that.
remember,
Okay.
It was an episode of Master of None with Aziz Ansari, when they wanted him to do an Indian voice for an Indian character, stereotypical Indian voice, and he refused to do it because of the way that it portrayed him.
Right.
As opposed to being an actor who happens to be Indian, they wanted him only because of his ethnicity.
And it's definitely, and see, that's why I believe there's different perspectives on this, and they might have different answers. Gamers talking from an artist point of view, right? I think if I was looking at the industry employment, I'd probably say we need more people of color doing voice acting.
That's the other kind of part of this, right?
That's the other side of this. So it's just like, hey, and I'm just being very general with this, right? If there's a network of white people that want to do all the voices and not let any person of color do the voices, as long as they do it right, some people might not have an issue with that. But the whole industry is suffering from a lack of diversity in general. So I think there are things to be done, and I definitely understand what Gamer's saying from the artistic point of view. And I was trying to be a film producer for a long time at the Art Institute. At the end of the day, if something works on screen, it works on screen. It doesn't matter what happens behind the screen, right? When it comes to the artistic view. So yeah, there's a lot of positions to consider here, and I'm still not really sure on the answer myself. I do want more of my people and people of color working and representing, but at the same time, if something works, it works. And just like you guys said, it comes down to the writing.
But what about that reverse argument then? Because for an actor like Phil Lamar, who is a black man who does a lot of voice work, he is probably best known for being the voice of Samurai Jack, who's a Japanese character. Right. So people will like throw that as an example as to say, well, why didn't you get a Japanese guy to do that? And in all honesty, that's not a bad argument. Like there's Like, because
I hear you,
wait, hold
but how
on,
many-
hold on, let me finish.
Okay.
Because just like how there is a lack of diversity in general, like there's a lot of white people doing roles for just everyone, Asian Americans also are underrepresented. So if you have a character
Right,
who
yeah.
is Asian that leads a thing, it kind of would have made sense for them to get an Asian American to do that voice.
I agree with that 100%. That's why I said people of color, and I didn't just say black people.
Right. But yeah,
You see what I'm saying? So
yeah.
an Asian person would be considered a person of color, and I would like to see them in more roles.
Right, and that's kind of what needs to happen, because I agree. Like, I agree when Gamer says, like, if someone can do that voice, like if it fits or whatnot, like, and depends on the writing, like, yeah, if it's not tailored specifically to a black or cultural experience in that way, then sure, you don't necessarily need someone from that culture to do it. And if someone from that culture wrote it, then again, you may not necessarily need someone from that culture to voice it. But when you do it in that way, it becomes offensive. Like with The Simpsons and Apu, for years and years and years, people have complained about that, and they just didn't do anything. Like, I don't think there was ever a gray. Yeah, there was. Yeah, now they're doing something about it. There was never like a gray area with that. It was just people didn't care enough.
Yeah, and I was gonna bring that up too, but it's kind of like that's gonna happen for every discussion. Oh, now you guys care, right? There's gonna be all these statements from all these companies, all this stuff that people doing. Oh, now you care. That can be said for every little article that we see nowadays.
That can also be said for, us. I mean, if you think about it, the way we used to joke when we were younger isn't the same way we joke now, because of certain topics are niche, and we're more evolved as people and the climate of the world and how things are now.
That makes a lot of sense.
I mean, as kids, we used to joke about people being, gay. We used to call each other that. We used to joke around about it, call people retarded. Nowadays, we don't. And it wasn't that we were told that it wasn't okay. We became to understand and see that it wasn't okay. And you change the way you operate based on who you are as a person. Like, if we didn't care about, gay people or trans people or any of that, then we would have continued to operate in that manner. But because we evolved and we care about those particular communities, we change the way we operate as a person. And I think, that can be said for some of these networks, because there's different leadership there. There's fresher leadership there. There's fresher perspective, or they could just be doing it to stay on the hill. And pretty much say, hey, yeah, we're with you. We're with you. We're not with you, but we're with you. So
I'm not sure I 100% agree. I feel like you're comparing the studios and these companies. You're comparing their ignorance to the ignorance of a child. When we were growing up,
we were teenagers.
Well, no, but I'm saying, even that, the ignorance of a teenager.
No, I get what you're saying.
They've had a lot of people telling them. They've had a lot of people telling them that this is insensitive. Grown people telling grown people that this is insensitive, this is offensive, for years and years and years. These aren't kids who don't know nothing, right? These are people who have families. They have big responsibilities in their communities.
I don't think it's the same. I don't think it's an age thing. I think it's a time thing. I think it's a particular period in history, where things were okay then that aren't okay now.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, it's more than just the individual maturity. There is like a societal maturity, because just like how there are some movies that came out not even that long ago that have writing and jokes and whatnot that just don't work today. Like, the climate is just different.
Most definitely. Like, American Pie could not fly.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Give me that.
And yeah, I think it's fair to say that an entity like a network probably has so many gears and stuff turning in it that it will probably take them longer to actually get it through their heads that, things need to change. They've been doing it this way for so long, it's been working. In their head, they're like, it's not an issue. Even though they're getting these complaints, they're like, well, that's just them, right? But now, at the very least, they are doing something. I do think, even if at the very least they're like pandering a bit, it's still something. It's what we wanted. You know what I mean? Like, you need to stop doing this. They stopped doing it. That is a victory, any way you look at it.
It's positive momentum. I'll give you that.
It's also, you mean, you could have people in charge who had these old ways of thinking.
That's true.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's like the changing of the old guard, where you get people in with new perspective who are evolving with the time, instead of that old guy who's been there for so long and his mentality is from when he grew up.
I hear what you're saying.
Sure. So anything else on this situation specifically? Nope. Okay.
Good, man.
So if you thought that was a deeper conversation, up next, apparently for the last several weeks, there have been a lot of new accusations in the vein of the Metoo movement, where a lot of women and men have been coming forward in regards to other people in the video games industry, the streaming games industry, and, having sexual misconduct claims brought up against them. Chris Avallone, who is the head writer for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. This game is about to come out now. This story was slightly different, but someone who he was basically pressuring into having an affair with him, because the guy was married, he wasn't telling her this and stuff, came out and basically just blew his spot up and said, like, you can't be doing this. Look at what he's doing. In the vein of that, he stepped down. Twitch, after hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of complaints from a bunch of different streamers, started issuing widespread bans. Ashraf Ismail, who's another game developer. Let me see.
Yo, like,
yes, Assassin's Creed.
I need to say this. I'm assuming everyone knows about Gamergate.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being on Twitter when that was first blowing up and like getting ridiculous. And I always asked myself, like, for how long? Because this could not have just started. None of this could have just started. And I had remember covering stories on Twitch about why so many people were just able to do things that totally went against the terms of service and nothing happened to them for so long. But now everything is just kind of like boiling up to the surface, and why I am so happy that things are being taken care of. I just can't help but be really pissed off, because it's like, this isn't the first, second, 34th, 87th, 936th time that someone had said something about this. So what was it? Was it the public shaming? Was it the pressure that finally got you to say something? Because you're too big to be this stupid.
So that was kind of my argument when we were talking about The Simpsons earlier. And granted, that's a much, much older institution. I understand old heads in charge, right? Twitch, though? Should Twitch be ignorant of all the dumb stuff that's going on, all the stuff that's breaking, not just breaking their terms and conditions, but the offensive things that they have on there? Should they have taken responsibility earlier, before all this stuff?
I mean, absolutely.
I'm sorry. Go.
Yeah, the problem is, even though Twitch is a newer entity, like, it's still made up of the same kind of patriarchy that exists in kind of all business. Even though video games are new and the fresh kid, it's still run predominantly by a bunch of older white guys. And then when women or people of color or anyone tries to tell them there's a problem, because it's not a problem for them, they tend to downplay it. And that's what kind of keeps happening until you kind of get people gathering together, like the Me Too movement, and all voicing it out at once, saying, like, this person did this to me. Oh, that person also did something to me. You get, like, a bunch of people saying a bunch of stuff about one guy. You got to pay attention.
I will tell you what
It's sad that it has to be a bunch of stuff.
I believe just everyone remembers Jake and Logan Paul, right? They haven't done anything immediately stupid and for a while, but everyone remembers the unfortunate video where I think it was Logan Paul in the forest. In the forest. It took months just for that video not to be taken down, but to be demonetized. It took months. And the only reason that it affected the older people in charge is because it hit their pockets. Going over to Sigma's point, it's because it became a personal problem for them. And that's what I think is happening with Twitch. They're realizing, oh man, so people don't like this, and now they're less likely to not only spend their time, but also their money. And because I also looked into a story that we had, something that we were all talking about, and that was like Mixer over to like Facebook and everything like that. And I actually did a bit of digging. The Facebook's viewer count has doubled for Facebook gaming. It has gone up significantly. But do you know how much Twitch, YouTube, and then Mixer have increased by?
Why is Mixer increasing? But go ahead.
No. Mixer only increased by 0.2%. YouTube increased by 15%. Twitch only increased by 38%. So Facebook
only
had
38%. 38's pretty hefty.
38 sounds kind of high.
Well, yes, 38 sounds kind of high, but as far
not compared to double.
Yeah, it's not compared to almost doubling your numbers
that's
for
like close
Facebook.
to 100%, right? That's how percent works. I'm not a math
Yep.
man.
You're right. Got it.
Well, to say that, the article that I looked at said that Facebook had a 269% increase. It's like, so it more than doubled. Basically.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's more. Yeah.
Wait, a 200%? Yeah, that's
yes.
It's like triple and some change.
Exactly. That's just the type of growth that they had. So I believe that Twitch knows this. So it's like, hey, if we're going to stay the best now,
you gotta appease this community somehow.
Because we have competitors and they either don't have these problems or they are fixing it. Like everything that happened with Dr. Disrespect.
Yeah, and I wanted to preface that situation. Dr. Disrespect, who is a well-known streamer on Twitch, he signed an exclusivity deal. Yeah, I don't know either. But he signed an exclusivity deal with Twitch after Ninja and Shroud left for millions of dollars. Like, the man is paid. He mysteriously got banned permanently, it seems like. Everyone who paid for like his premium subscription stuff had all their stuff refunded, but no one has stated why yet.
Why?
And
if you watch him, you know why, bro.
Like, well here's the thing. It is wildly irresponsible to speculate as to why without having that information. So I don't want to do that. All we know is he has been banned permanently, and it seems like it's for something bad, like something that may require some sort of legal representation. But we don't know anything else other than that. So that's where that...
You think first of all, we on a Gamescast. We're supposed to speculate on this.
Yeah, but not to the extent that because this is, it's possible like he may be criminally charged with something, which in and of itself is speculation. But I don't want to speculate what it is he might be charged with. Like I don't want to say he may have done this, he may have done that, because we just don't know.
I've watched some of his streams in the past, and this man is disrespectful, like his name says. I believe, and I'd have to do the actual research. But I've heard stories of him and just like Ninja dropping the M-bombs, right? They've done that before, but him was a little bit less apologetic. So I'll get some articles. I'll put them together. We can talk about it next week.
I mean, it's not the first time he's been banned. Like he does.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he's
stuff.
not. I don't understand what's so. He's like watching a racist train wreck, in my opinion. But
this reminds me of Joe Dirt.
yeah, but Joe Dirt persona was like kind and like a good person.
But this is like, is like the alternate version of Joe Dirt from Earth 22.
Speaking
Which
of
one
DC
is that?
stuff. Yeah, who
Which one
knows?
is that?
Yeah, which one is Earth 22? Do you know? Like, you have an encyclopedic knowledge of what Earth is what?
That's the one when you're actually good at Smash.
Okay, so
No,
it's
that's
this one.
Earth
So it's this one.
21.
Oh,
Earth
so that's this
21.
Earth. Got it. But yeah, like the thing is, this is hitting everywhere across
But yeah, no,
games.
this is stupid.
Like there were a bunch of tweets that I was following. Like it wasn't like a put together story, but I follow a ton of IGN editors and some former editors as well, and a lot of them had not so nice things to say about past heads at IGN. Like they don't work there anymore, and apparently the culture has improved since then. But like their old managing editors and like feature writers and whatnot. One of the guys named specifically, Steve Butts, he used to be like I think the head editor at IGN. He had a lot of issues with like misconduct, like being mean, being abusive to employees, like verbally, like explicitly, like holding down like female employees and stuff like that in terms of their careers, and like making people feel anxious and unhappy at work and whatnot. And everything immediately improved after the guy was fired. So it's like this. Like there shouldn't be any wiggle room for stuff like this. Like when Twitch takes this long to act, like their entire structure, everyone who's involved in their community suffers.
Well, if you did, from what I read too, was they had a series of bans for people that they didn't announce. I guess there's like a channel that they just post bans at. There was a slew of people they just banned.
I mean, and that's how you should do it. Like, I have no love lost for like just mass bans if they've done the kind of stuff that people are saying they've done. Like, and if by chance those people are innocent, like that sucks.
Hopefully they have the proof.
Yeah, that sucks. Hopefully they'll be reinstated. I'm pretty sure they'll get their audience back if things are
my
found to
question is, what transpired to have them act all of a sudden?
I think it's part of what Gamer was saying. Is like, Facebook kind of coming up behind their heels a little bit. Like they're worried about maybe losing face with the community at large. They want to seem like the good guy.
And they just don't want to be problematic. They don't want to have people on there saying all lives matter. And
I think it's fear of the second one, because I'll tell you why. It's not so much that we can't be this way. It's just that we can't be this way publicly. Because people have 100% been this way for a very long time. It's just now at this point, no one is being quiet anymore. You have Facebook groups that are dedicated not only to screenshotting and capturing what racist people saying so they can get them fired, but then other groups to then watch that racist person defend their actions and then complain to the effect of, well, I don't know why they're doing this. This isn't necessarily helpful at all. Why make me lose my job? Because we're tired and we're not letting you get away with it anymore.
Unfortunately, that's the only way to hit some people is in their pocket.
Yeah. And
it works. That's all that we can do.
When they find Jesus,
it works.
And they want to change.
Like,
it's sad that's all that we can do.
Well, that's all that we can do right now. Unfortunately, this is the system and this is the game we're playing. We are currently in the process of changing that. And until the system changes completely or burn down at this point, this is
Shadow Realm.
This is where we are. But Twitch doesn't want to be that platform where someone's just gonna accidentally just, oh, I don't know, all lives matter, and then just like shut down. And then after that, of course it's going to be, well, Twitch, why didn't you do something? They definitely don't want that, but then they have all of these weeds that they had not taken care of, and now everybody else is calling them out on all of their weeds. And then Facebook is like, hey, we don't have that. Nobody, so we don't have over that. We don't have any of that. So if you want to come over here, because we don't have any of that over here.
They pretty cool.
Right? We're integrated in everything, almost just like Amazon. Yeah. So why not come over here? And so boom, there you go.
And speaking of
that happened with Mixer, kind of made them start cleaning their own house, because now it puts the spotlight on that particular area of entertainment.
Exactly, and
I don't
that's
know if
actually
y'all
our
saw-
last topic. So, Blue, go ahead and introduce that.
Yeah, Mixer shut down, bro. July 22nd. That's when it's supposed to go down. It sucks. That's almost the exact tweet that we got. That's like the information that we got.
It really did kind of come out of nowhere very suddenly.
They said, so Mixer sends out a tweet. Microsoft
Now,
sends out a tweet, and
for
they
me,
say, "Hey,
do
what's
you?
that?"
Well, question for you guys: do you think that's gonna hurt the Series X in any way?
Nope.
Yeah, I can't.
Why would it?
Yeah, I can't imagine that it would.
The reason why I ask is because, I mean, it is from Microsoft. They did run Mixer.
Mm-hmm.
All these allegations and stuff. Do you think it's gonna put a negative light on their launch of the Series X?
Absolutely not.
I
As
don't
a
see
matter-
the correlation. Besides, it just really depends on what the actual reason for the shutdown was. If the reason was like something crazy in Microsoft on a whole, then yeah, maybe there might be some boycott stuff going on. But if it's just Mixer isolated, not enough people care about Mixer on the console.
Well,
Or do you think?
let's get into that then. Like, what is the reason it's shutting down? Like, do we have a definitive answer? Like, because I knew Blue, you sent a tweet that had a story about some racism going on in the back.
I wanted to talk about that. Yeah. So there was a tweet from a black man that his story is that he had worked for Microsoft, worked with Mixer, and he was the only black one in the office, and he got treated like trash, and not just treated like trash. He felt like he was a diversity hire. He wasn't taken seriously, and some of the top executives called all of the streamers slaves, saying that they work for me. I make whoever I want popular. Is not even a numbers game. She was like, I control everything. They're my slaves. And he didn't like that, obviously. In the meeting, he went to HR and they said, okay, yeah, cool. We'll look into it. And nothing happened. And eventually he left. I think it was like the second or third time something like that had happened. And they opened up the case after he had left and then said, oh yeah, she's not guilty because something about the context of when it was said. But long story short, he put out this very long story, and I think he had some email screenshots back and forth, but it sounded like a very, very, very toxic leadership environment. I don't know if he was the reason for the shutdown specifically.
I would posit no, like absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I feel like stories like his could be the reason for a Mixer shutdown.
Like,
Now-
but how? Like, because I don't.
Well, if
Because I understand that story, it talks to like the corporate structure behind the scenes at Mixer, but I don't see how that situation or any situation like it is leading to this shut. Like, it's not like he didn't say like he filed like $1 billion lawsuit against them or something. So I don't see how those are connected in that way.
the connection I'm looking at is the exposure of racist and corrupt management. Right now, that happens all the time, and people get fired and they replace them. Cool, I get it. I don't think that's. I should say I believe that this could be a contributing factor, especially in this day and age. Now, it sounds like from the tweet, it sounds like Microsoft was saying we kind of bit off more than we can chew.
Yeah, that's the vibe I get. Is that it's a strictly numbers game. Like they're not. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, if they were trying to say we don't stand for this, they would have made some type of
public execution,
public statement. They would have made actions to rectify this. I think just to shut down doesn't. It doesn't say, hey, we were wrong, or we have this going on, we don't stand for this. The people who do portray this particular state of mind or make this work environment unhealthy, we're okay with cutting them off. We're okay with getting rid of them. But to shut down the whole community in general, I think doesn't.
Yeah,
I feel like it's a factor.
It's like you go into a store.
It's a factor.
Yeah, it's like you go into a store. You get bad customer service. You call, you complain. and the next time you go back, the store's closed. You still have that negative view of that particular brand, as opposed to you have bad service, you call, next time you go in, they kind of talk to you, they apologize, they say, hey, we're going to make sure that every experience you have here is of the highest degree of customer service that you would get from anywhere. You feel different towards that brand, as opposed to just going there all
I'd like to offer a counter analogy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's the whole store that closes. I think it's just the ATM in the corner that closed. You see what I'm saying?
But Mixer's the whole store, though.
But no, I would say Microsoft is the whole.
No, not like
Microsoft. I'm talking about Mixer.
Yeah, because like if they shut down maybe a branch or an office or whatever, like because Mixer was like Mixer and the community that Mixer built is completely and wholly separate from the corporate politics. If there's a problem with the leadership there, they would fire that dude and get a better leader, or fire an employee, get a better employee.
Imagine you have a failing business and you got racist management in this day and age. You gonna just throw the whole thing away, in my opinion.
If it's losing money, then that's something different.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's a factor.
But I mean, as far as
I don't think it's a factor. That's what I'm saying. I disagree wholeheartedly. So
I mean, as far as them making a stand against racism or sex,
nothing came from Mixer even acknowledging this, right? Like the tweet you said was that person's account.
Yeah,
like,
it was
Mixer,
that his account.
So Mixer never like addressed it and said we want to wish this thing, we want to be in this person's corner. Like I don't think they were even thinking about the situation. Like as far as they were concerned, it doesn't matter because we're getting rid of this anyway. Like. So I don't think that they're connected in that way where it's like, well, if we're going to have to deal with this, we might as well shut the whole thing down. Forget this.
I'm done. I'm going home.
But,
all right.
But like the shutdown itself, because honestly,
I got nothing else. Like
no, but like the four of us, we kind of maybe championed Mixer a little bit in terms of our streaming. Like when we got our basis. Yeah, we got our start kind of using Mixer because it was so heavily integrated into the Xbox platform where we like to play a lot of the time.
I bought an Xbox to use Mixer because it's a new platform. I saw it at E3, and I believed in it.
And apparently Microsoft didn't. Yeah,
I got screwed.
So it does suck, but I don't know. How many streaming platforms do we need then? Because I'm all for competition, but at this point we had Twitch, we had the YouTube, we had the Mixer, we had the Facebook, and there's still other smaller ones around that you don't really hear too often, but they exist. Like, does it make that big of an impact going forward to not have Mixer involved?
I will say, go ahead, Jeff.
Go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
All I was gonna say is that the biggest loss, in my opinion, functionality-wise, when it comes to losing Mixer, was losing the co-streams. The ability for someone to look at one stream. Nobody else does that without serious manipulation from OBS. And that, I think that's gonna hurt, because on our Free For All Fridays we used to have 4 different perspectives. You know what I'm saying? And that's cool to see on one screen. Now you can't do that very easily anymore, and it's more on an individual basis. So you really gotta that's I think that's one of the big things that's really hurting on this transition.
But if somebody else says, hey, we figured out co-stream, like, does that mean, like, well, bye Mixer,
I'm not gonna miss Mixer as much. I'll say that I'm not gonna miss Mixer as much. That was besides the response time, that was one of the biggest features that they had that was working for them, in my opinion. I thought it was.
Yeah. It was definitely something
you know what I mean? So if someone else picks it up, then yeah, okay, you got it.
Okay. Anybody else have like closing thoughts on Mixer's closing?
Jeff has some on that, right?
I feel like.
Oh, go.
I feel like competition is always good for not only the consumer but for the industry. I think Mixer. Let's not forget Twitter. There was a lot of reasons why people left Twitter to begin with, because of the certain rules and regulations and the way they were being treated over there. From
talking about Twitch.
Yeah, Twitch. I'm sorry.
Okay.
My bad.
Sorry.
So let's not forget that. That is why
Mm.
initially a lot of them came over to Mixer. I mean, some for money, but some because of the structure over there. They didn't feel like they were set up to succeed. So I feel like as long as Facebook rises to the occasion and becomes that, Sony to their Microsoft, I think that's gonna encourage a even playing field for both platforms.
And that is
I think
where,
Twitch just being number one allows them to kind of monopolize and do whatever they want.
yeah. So they need the competition to basically make everything get better. And Facebook is where Microsoft pointed everybody. Like they basically said we're teaming up with Facebook going forward. So we'll
I don't even know what
transition
that
you
line
guys.
looks like.
That's like that's like Bernie Sanders endorsing Biden. It's like I'm not running anymore, but hey,
Yeah, that
Alright.
connects. Gamer, you had thoughts?
I guess because I wasn't informed about the story that Blue was talking about. I was just looking at the numbers in regards to the closing, and considering that Microsoft has. I remember when Microsoft first tried to release a handheld device and how gloriously terrible that went. I'm
Windows
looking
Phone?
in the Windows Phone. I'm looking at this, and they're like, well, they're a big company. They had some money to blow. They tried this and it didn't work. So it's like, well, we're not going to really lose much. Let's connect on over to Facebook. And I want you to remember that the next time something like this comes up, because, and I don't know if you guys covered or if we covered it together, but people were really surprised when Xbox was talking to Nintendo about connections into Xbox Live with your achievements in Cuphead. And it's like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? Why would those two things connect? Why would these two players play together like that? Because that's Microsoft's goal. Microsoft isn't about my own stuff. Microsoft, in my opinion, seems to be connect over here. We're over here with you. We're over here with you. We are everywhere you want to be.
Yeah, like just kind of have their hands in everybody else's pockets
like
if they can be. Yeah.
in your hand.
And I say that because with the exception of Amazon and Google, I can't think of anyone that has that level of infrastructure. Like with cloud, I don't know anyone who has it besides Amazon, Google, and Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
That's the truth. So on that note, we're done with our topics for the day. Finally, moving on to our mailbag. You can also email us at bbetgaming@gmail.com, just like Snitch360 did, and he asked us, how do you balance your personal life and your gaming life? Excellent question. Blue says you don't. I mean, that's, to be honest, that's pretty close to my perspective, because kind of like my
Gaming is life.
Yeah, like that's how I'm currently making my living, is through video games, like staying current on news, on kind of what the pulse of the industry is in terms of like the community, in terms of like media, knowing like what's hot in terms of like new games that are out, like if there are new mechanics, new stories, stuff that people are buzzing about. Like I kind of have
all
to
the
try
stuff
to
we talking about.
Yeah, like soak all that stuff up
52 episodes
to just live my life.
You've been slacking in that last part. Like I used to depend on you for information, but now I can't.
What are you talking about?
Not as
Every single week, I'm
informative.
giving you information. What are you talking about? I write out a list called the Runner Show that has the week's worth of information.
I'm talking personally, but for me, it's difficult. I work 9 hours a day, 5 days a week. On top of working 9 hours, I drive 4 hours extra every day.
Again,
So
I'm going to ask, are we really doing this right now?
So my days are like 13-hour days.
Okay, we are.
On top of that, I have a 1-year-old son. So it's I have to get very creative on how I incorporate gaming or shows that I want to watch or how I keep up to date on news. It's very difficult with my daily routine. But You just make it work. You do what you got to do.
Like, gamer, you sound like perturbed right now. Like, what is going on?
That whole monologue started with throwing salt at your eyes about not providing information and somehow transitioning into what sounded like I work so hard, the episode with SpongeBob and Patrick, like, oh, he doesn't change his diaper too often. And Jeff, being SpongeBob, is like, well, I work so hard, you can change one. That's what that sounded like for it. So for it to completely end with, yeah, you just make it work, was completely something that Jeff would do, and that I should just accept that as fact. So with that being said, the answer to your question, Snicks, how do I balance my personal life and my gaming life? I compartmentalize things to perhaps a problematic degree. Everything in my head has its own little box. Everything in my head has a way I'm supposed to act. Here, I have enough spoons for this, enough resources built for this. I have enough RAM to do this. And then after that, I just stop and go over to the next thing. That may not necessarily sound healthy, but it's a way to force myself to be done. You don't finish when you're tired, you're finished when you're done. So it's like, I'm doing some voice work things, boom. I'm doing some day work things, boom. I'm doing some streaming things, boom. And I try to pull myself and separate from that, because streaming is stressful. My day job is stressful. Life is stressful. And now everyone in the world is figuring out that being black is stressful. So you can definitely understand that when I do try to draw that line, it has to be that very clear line where it's like, okay, I'm gaming for myself now versus I'm gaming for somebody else, or I have to be on or present. Have to make sure to separate those moments where it's like, okay, Mr. Gamer is not on mic right now, or let me put it to you this way. Your friendly neighborhood gamer isn't necessarily here right now. It's Mr. Gamer who has had a very stressful day and doesn't really care what you think right now is currently on the mic. It's things like that, and you have to have those, and that's what I do.
For me, as he was saying all of that, I was picturing like a little Animal Crossing version of him in his head doing all these things. I'm gonna compartmentalize. I'm gonna put this over here so I can do this at this time. So then he went over to the yard and started planting these hard drive seeds. Like, it was just a whole thing playing out in my head with the Mr. Gamer Animal Crossing version of him, compartmentalizing everything in his brain.
That's cute.
I have spreadsheets for a reason.
Spreadsheets for a reason. He's out there typing up his spreadsheets next to Tom Nook.
Is a gamer.
Yeah.
Is a game.
Yeah, when it comes to no, that's alright. When it comes to balancing my gaming life, it's difficult right now. You know, I'm like halfway in online schooling because of COVID, and a lot of the student films got canceled that I was working on. So it's a lot of, for me, it's helping me to pass the time. I think this whole gaming is life is part of is part of my quarantine here, and it's helping me keep safe, to be honest. Granted, there's other things that I do throughout the day, of course. You know, I take care of the house, I cook, I clean, I do my workouts when I gather the motivation.
I know that struggle.
Yeah, man. But honestly, it's a way to stay social.
That's true.
And especially, you know, the only person I see physically face to face on a regular basis is my girlfriend. Some of the people at the supermarkets, I kind of remember them, but I can't get close to them anyway. So I get this video chat with these guys. I FaceTime my families and stuff like that, and then I play a lot of games with people. You know, hang out with your friends in many different situations. That's basically what gaming is to me. and that's why gaming is life. So there's not necessarily a balance. It's a part of it. Gaming is a huge part of my relationship with my girl too. Oh, we were playing Magic the Gathering, Arena on the PC. So, super short story. First couple times, I think I won the first couple games. Then she won like 3 in a row. Then I won like 2 in a row. So I was talking on big, and then she beat me twice in a row last night. Man, this game is fun. When you're like right in front of somebody and you don't have to worry about cleaning up cards. Yeah.
But yeah,
anyway,
on that note of like the line,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I lost that so long ago. Like I don't have a line anymore, and honestly, it's probably a problem because like I legitimately
I think it's a problem because we grew up learning that it was a problem.
Maybe because I'll tell like a quick story about how I kind of learned to kind of just manage everything that I do in life, and it has a lot to do with pledging Sigma in college. And if you guys don't know, when you pledge a Black Greek letter organization, they put you online for a number of weeks, and it's a process. I'm not gonna say I was hazed because I was not hazed. I was on a line. I literally lined up with my 8 other line brothers, and we go through a process of them teaching us everything about Sigma, teaching us kind of life lessons, just enforcing brotherhood. Like Terrence, you probably have a very similar experience going through basic training in the military because a lot of stuff is borrowed from that. Like you make these guys who are with you your brothers or whatever, right? But the other thing that came from it is this impending sense of dread for the end of the day because that's when everything would happen. And that taught me to do all the stuff that I don't want to do as soon as possible, as early as possible, as efficiently, as quickly as possible so I don't have to deal with it later.
So eat your vegetables first.
Yes. Anything that could be considered the harder part is what I focus on first. And that's basically what I've applied to everything in addition to video games. Like I've applied video games to everything in my life. It's probably not healthy. Like I made my son play video games. I made my job video game related. Like if I didn't like when I wasn't working in video games, I was making video game content, and that was the only time I was kind of sane. Because to be honest, like right before my son was born, I was probably very much so depressed because like I graduated with a journalism degree, but I was working a job that had nothing to do with journalism, nothing to do with games. Like I just really didn't feel like I was doing anything close to what I wanted to do. And when I finally decided, you know what, I'm gonna try and make content regarding what I wanted to do, that's when, I kind of regained myself a bit.
I don't want to kick us into overtime, but I think it's a bad stigma to push that. Now, hold on. Let me make sure I say this right. Gaming can be unhealthy just like any other hobby, right? I feel like gaming is painted, or I should say an abundance of gaming. I'm not going to say excess. I'm going to say an abundance of gaming is constantly painted as an unhealthy thing. And I don't think that's fair. I feel like just like any other hobby, if you do it and you're responsible with your stuff, you're not hurting those around you, and you're not being a jerk, do it to it. And make it happen and make it work for you. You know what I mean? So I guess I just want to kind of like, I feel bad every time you say that like it's probably unhealthy. You know what I mean? Because I don't feel like it is. You look like a healthy individual to me. I don't know 100% of what's going on, but you look healthy. You don't look sickly. You have a wonderful son. You have a wonderful girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? You have you got a place. You got things together, and you're a gamer. There's nothing unhealthy about what I see right now from Sigma Gears 9.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. And it's funny because I'm kind of on the opposite side of the spectrum where I like to do all the easy stuff first, so I have the maximum amount of time to handle the bigger problems.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a way of hitting it. It's just
it's different sides of the coin.
Like I don't know. My process instilled something in me that just makes me hate having something waiting for me, something that I don't necessarily want to do waiting for me. So like I get that out of the way as soon as possible. And I feel like that's just helped me in general since.
Oh yeah. Hey man, different folks, different strokes, right?
For me, it started with when we were in Sigma Beta Club, and we used to have to do group dynamics.
Yeah, I remember
And,
that.
it's surprising how many people don't know how to problem solve. Where they have a problem, and they're not able to use the tools that are available to them to solve that problem. And I see this at work on a daily basis, whether I'm training somebody or teaching a new employee. Sometimes it's things I've gone over. Things sometimes it's things they've done before. They'll come up with a problem, and it's not a very difficult problem, but they're not able to utilize the tools that are available to them to solve the problem. Same thing with my agenda. I know when I go in the morning, the things I have to do, the things that have to get done on a daily basis. Then there are the things that pop up.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to leave room for those pop-ups and manage them accordingly. And also
It
there's
sounds
things,
like a video game.
it does. And then, people just, like he was saying, it can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. But also I think it depends on the person and how they handle it on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. Thank you so much
Yep.
for that question, Snix360.
Thank
Really
you,
appreciate
Snix.
it. I know you got a bunch more in the bank. They're gonna get doled out in time, but we're gonna go ahead and sign off. Jeff, where can people find you if they're looking for you on the internet?
So when you are looking for me, you can find me on Superman Jeff 12. That is across all social media. That's Twitter, that's YouTube, that's Facebook, that's Instagram, that is Twitch. Used to be Mixer. Yeah, you can find me in all those places. So definitely go ahead and check me out, and then check us out on the BBET Twitch channel, and hit that subscribe button.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Gamer, where can we find you if they're looking for you?
You can find me at startbuttonreview.com. That's start button like on the controller, review.com. I am also on Twitter, Instagram, Skyrim toilets, smartphones, and hair accessories under SBR Mr. Gamer, but only on Instagram. Actually, Instagram and Twitch, there's an underscore. So it's SBR underscore Mr. Gamer. And you can also find my podcast, SBR Reports, playing wherever it is that podcasts are being played right now. I think they're currently working on wine bottles last time I checked, but I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that.
I'm gonna quote you on that.
I just said don't.
You're not my mom.
Blue, what about you?
Oh, here we go.
The old "I'm not your mom" excuse.
It's your boy, WB0NES. Yeah, man. All them platforms that they was just going through, including the Skyrim, just look for Blue Bones and you'll find it there too. Yeah. Hit that YouTube, hit that Twitch. You know, we pushing hard on Twitch now. We pushing hard. Well, we've been pushing hard anyway.
Yeah.
But we're pushing harder. You know what I'm saying? We got less things to manage now. So get in there. Get there. What did it say? Be there or be square?
Someone said that, like in the 50s.
Yeah, in the 50s. It was like hot on TV land.
Okay, but the song "It's Hip to Be a Square." Does anybody else remember that
From Sesame Street? Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
But more importantly, Sigma, where can we find you on the internet?
You guys can find me on pretty much all social media at Sigma Gears 9. You can find me on Facebook at Sigma and Son. You can find my 3-minute reviews as well as live streams and some opinion pieces on escapistmagazine.com and their YouTube. Just recently, Chocolate City Comics, they're an Instagram page. They're a collection of a bunch of like black artists. They do a ton of cool work. Follow them if you haven't already. They actually featured the cosplay that I did, or the Halloween costume I did rather, with me and Starboy dressed as Ocarina of Time Link. And our good friend of the show, Chelsea, who drew some stuff for me and drew me and Starboy together. Like, when I first posted that, it kind of went viral a little bit, and they hit me up saying that they were going to post it on their page. It never did. apparently they just remembered to do it, and then they hit me up and said, "Oh, we totally forgot," and then posted it. So that's kind of yeah, it kind of went a little bit viral again. So if anyone is here from that, thank you, welcome. I hope you're subscribing to this, as well as the YouTube, as well as the Twitch, like everyone's mentioning. We're trying to get those numbers up because Mixer is dying. That's probably where we had the biggest number of followers. So I hope we can get some of those to cross over to these other platforms, Facebook and YouTube and Twitch. So please follow us over there. My most recent 3-minute review for Polybridge 2 just dropped, so go check that out on Escapist.
Yeah, I need to check that out.
Thanks again. Please send in more emails. We love to read them. BBETGaming@gmail.com. That's going to do it for episode 52.
Yep.
Thank my 3 co-hosts. I thank everyone who's watching, everyone who's listening. Peace.
Deuces.
Picture me riding and rolling with models. Brand new Ferraris, like we was winning the lotto. And that's all those fathers with me. Pouring the bottle, playing that ONG music that's gonna blow like Chicago, carrying hundreds.